They didn't go on the dark side. So, yeah, there's a lot of cool things and experiments. You made a good point about space weather. We've had a very active solar cycle, and James and I actually talked a lot about this. Space weather really impacts astronauts a lot. They would have to take precautions on the launch, and from radiation, they would have to protect themselves if there's a giant solar flare when this mission is going on.
Yeah, and I mean, so those are things you just don't think about. And the sun actively has a major role, especially active sun cycle. That has a major impact on Earth's weather. You don't think about it, but I mean, it does. It's our number one source of heating, and that causes our, heating differences on the Earth, which causes pressure differences, winds, all of that. So weather's driven by our sun, and when the sun's in an active solar cycle, we need to be able to study that. So it'll be interesting to see what data they collect with, being on that side of the moon.
And during that last solar storm, Brad, do you remember the NOAA Space Weather Prediction Center in their video update was saying, we're talking to NASA, we're talking to the astronauts aboard the International Space Station, and we're even monitoring Artemis, which is out on the pad. If they had been up in space, that would have been a whole nother moving target for them to have to track.
Yeah, well, people don't realize when there's one of those giant solar flares, there's actually a shielded room or compartment, I would call it, in the space station where astronauts will actually go seek shelter until that flare passes the space station, because there's that much radiation that passes them. So this is a huge deal. We haven't really had an active solar cycle like this when we've had manned space flight going on, because remember that's 11-year cycle for the sun. The last one was the active cycle really wasn't very active. It felt like a minimum. So if you think about it, it's really been like 24 years since we've had a really active solar cycle. That's why we've seen so many aurora borealis sightings here in the south, which is the other reason I think people are like, does this happen all the time? It kind of did, but it happened a long time ago. We didn't have smartphones and social media that we could all kind of enjoy it. So it is going to be interesting. I'm really excited for this now. I'm actually somewhat glad it got moved to the second launch window. I know James is too, because it gives us more time to cover it and talk about it. We've just been slammed with winter weather, so now we can kind of enjoy the space stuff. James, anything else that's stuck with you today from the press conference?
I wish I had a picture of it, but Launch Director Charlie Blackwell Thompson, Googled it. She had earrings that were spectacular. They were the SLS rocket. I don't know where she got them. Maybe they're one of a kind.
That's a true space geek when you know that. I mean, that's what I love about those guys and those gals. They are great because they are all into it. So we'll obviously be talking more about this. We'll talk more about our cold rain and brief snow chance again tomorrow, but stick around. We got more news coming up.
Thanks for joining us again inside the Impact Studio, you guys. We're going to start with President Trump signing legislation to end the partial government shutdown. Let's go to this as it happened just hours ago.
Okay, thank you very much. It's a very important day. We have a lot of important days, but I'm thrilled to sign the Consolidated Appropriations Act to immediately reopen the federal government and fund the vast majority of operations through the rest of the fiscal year. I want to thank, and I have a list here because the list is growing all the time. Everybody wants to be a part of this, so I think I'm going to read the names. I think you deserve to have your names read, and if I don't read any, just raise your hand and let's have it. But I have to start with Speaker Mike Johnson, who's done an incredible job, done really an incredible job, and we appreciate it. Tom Cole, Ronnie Jackson, Buddy Carter, Stephanie Bice, Ken Calvert, John Carter, David Joyce, Steve Womack, and on Steve Womack, I just, where's Steve? Right here. Where's Steve? Come here, Steve. I want to just, he had a rough, that's a rough week or so, right? Yeah. Had an incredible wife who passed away, but she was an incredible woman, and everybody knows that, everybody up here, so we're with you all the way. Okay?
Thank you, Mr. President.
I'm glad you could be here.
Grateful.
I understand. It's a rough deal. He went through rough. He had a good marriage. Good marriage is better than a bad marriage. But it makes it a little bit tougher when something like that happens. Robert Adderholt.
Out here. Thank you.
Susan Collins. Hi, Susan. I heard you're doing good. Cindy Hyde-Smith.
Right here.
Cindy, well, you always do good, Cindy.
Thank you.
Bill Haggerty. Hi, Bill. Lindsey Graham, who's way up in the polls. Lindsey, what's going on with you? You're so high. I don't
Has a lot to do with you, don't forget that.
Well, has the opponent dropped out yet? Has your Democrat opponent
You
dropped
come to
out?
South Carolina, they're going.
Mario Diaz-Balart.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mario. Katie Britt.
Yes, sir.
Hi, Katie. What a job you're doing.
Thank you.
John Barrasso. He knows more about healthcare than any human being on earth, I think, when I need somebody. John is a great person, too. Shelley Moore Capito. Thank you, Shelley.
Thank you, sir.
Very much. Hal Duncan, Associate Director of the Legislative Affairs. Thank you, Hal. Great job. And Susan Ross Avison and Betsy McConnell, they were really instrumental and they really worked hard. So I want to thank you all. I don't want to, anybody I didn't mention? Oh boy, that'd be nice, because it's a little embarrassing when they stick their hand up. I think they'd just be quiet, it's probably easier, but I'm glad we got you in, because you really have worked hard. This bill is a great victory for the American people. Instead of a bloated and wasteful omnibus monstrosity full of special interest handouts, we've succeeded in passing a fiscally responsible package that actually cuts wasteful federal spending while supporting critical programs for the safety, security, and prosperity of the American people. And this group of people behind me and others, and a lot of votes, they really have done a fantastic job, because closing the country, we had a 5 point, it looks like 5.6, and it could have been 7. We lost a 1.5 because of a 42-day shutdown. And that's the least of it. But we would have been at 7. Can you believe it? 7 GDP. Nobody ever heard of a 7 GDP. So I'm glad we got this done, because this would be another 1.5 or something, or maybe worse. The bill officially ends all taxpayer subsidies for radical far-left woke programming on NPR and PBS, so just a waste of money. It slashes nearly $10 billion in wasteful foreign aid spending, giving money to countries that don't need it. They have plenty of money. And we ended that. That was so important, $10 billion. Think of it. It continues the closure of USAID and creates a brand new America First Opportunity Fund for responsibly providing foreign assistance to nations where it actually serves American interests. So we have nations that do help us, and it serves our interests, so we have something to help them out with. This bill also cuts funding to abusive and weaponized IRS programs. I was a victim of that too. You probably read that. Did you read that recently, right?
Sure.
I was, I guess, the ultimate victim. That were used to harass American taxpayers. It builds on the Republican rescissions package passed last summer, which saved Americans billions and billions of dollars. It fully funds our military, includes a well-deserved pay raise for all American service members, and makes historic investments in the American shipbuilding industry, which is great. We're really starting to do something incredible with shipbuilding. And I don't know if you saw that the United States of America, for the first time in over 30 years, beat Japan. We love Japan, great country, but their power in steel making, that we produced more steel this year than Japan. Think of that, more steel than Japan, and Japan is a powerhouse at that. And we were pretty much dead when it came to steel. So what do you think of that? And then, to me, when I heard that, we did more than Japan. It continues to fund deportation flights that are removing dangerous illegal aliens from our country. It continues historically successful efforts to reduce crime in our nation's capital. We have a very safe city right now. We have a city that is like a different world from what it was a year and a half ago, when you couldn't walk down a street without being hurt very badly. I want to say that in a nice way. Washington, D.C. is a safe city. Memphis, by the way, is that crime is down 77%. And in New Orleans, I don't know if you heard these numbers, but in New Orleans, we started 4 weeks ago, max. And crime is down 68%. It's going to be down to practically nothing within the next month. Pretty amazing. But it all helped cut the number of murders in D.C. by 80%. And we have numbers coming up, newer numbers. We're down 97% in murders. It's a horrible thing to even be talking about, murders in D.C. But a lot of people were being killed in Washington, D.C., if you can believe it. And now we have a very safe, I don't know if there's any such thing as crime-free, but pretty close in January compared to 12 months ago. So we have close to 95% down crime in Washington, D.C. It allows all of you people to walk to the White House instead of getting into an Uber and getting mugged even as the Uber progresses, okay? And it continues funding for the Department of Homeland Security until later in the year. And finally, I am extremely pleased to announce that this bill includes a newly designated, movie star, Melania Trump Foster Youth to Independence Initiative. So she really loves the children, and she's had a tremendous success. So it's the #1 documentary in 19 years. Can you believe this? What do I get out of it? Nothing out of it. Now I had a top model, now I have a top movie star. But we have a great First Lady. She loves children, and she had a tremendous vote on this. And I want to just say, Melania Trump Foster Youth to Independence Initiative within the Department of Housing and Urban Development, which will support America's foster youth and provide them critical resources as they age out of the foster care system. And the First Lady loves children, and she's been very much involved with children and helping them out and making them better. That's what she wants to do, wants to help them, and she wants to make them better. And she does a great job of it. She's respected, and her movie got really incredible reviews. She's done it. We're all proud of her, actually. It's amazing. Not easy to do that. Not easy to do it. So I just want to thank everybody for being here. If you would have some questions, I might just ask before you do that. These are all outstanding politicians, the top. In my opinion, the top in the whole world. But that's one of those things. I like to build it up a little bit, but they are. They're the top politicians at the top political minds. And if you have any statement, does anybody have a statement that you'd like to make? We'll start on the left side. Anybody? How about Mr. Speaker?
Well, this is a big thing, Mr. President. Thank you for your leadership and helping us steward this through. For a long time, we wanted to get back to regular order in the appropriations process. And you're standing up here with the best appropriators in the business and have served in many years. And we forced the muscle memory back. We're getting back to that regular order process. 12 separate appropriations bills. We've gotten them to your desk, and this is a big thing. It seems like a small thing, but it's a big thing. And we're spending less money year over year, and with all the innovations and things that you said there, this is good for the country. And America is back. The hat is appropriate. It's the right slogan.
There's a new hat. We just came out. America is back. Look, CNN's thrilled. Look at her. She's never smiles. I never see her smile. Someday I'll see her smile.
Mr. President,
Yes.
did I mention that there's significant health care reform in this bill? PBM reform, something that you have been working on, and we appreciate and applaud your efforts. Bringing drug prices down for citizens here in America. Not only that, but we extended telehealth, and also we are addressing maternal mortality in this bill. Rural health care has been a big part of your focus, and we appreciate that.
Thank you very much. Thank you, buddy. You know, a very big thing, I think, for all of us is most favored nations on drug pricing. So for 30 years they've been talking about it, more than that, and it's basically we now will take prescription drugs will come down to the lowest price anywhere in the world. So if a country is selling a pill for $10 and we're selling it for $130, which is not much of an exaggeration at all, we were paying the highest drug prices anywhere in the world. Now we'll be paying tied with the lowest price. It's most favored nations. We will have the lowest price anywhere in the world. So a pill that was for $130 will be down to $20. So you can make a case that that's 800, 900%, or like the press likes to hear, it's about 80%. But we're going to get reductions like nobody's ever seen. And frankly, the Republican Party should be able to win the midterms on that alone. That's the biggest thing there is. Most favored nations, we're going to be bringing the price of drugs down. In my first term, I got it down 1/8 of 1%, and I was so proud because it's the first time in 28 years that drug prices came down. And now we're talking about bringing it down by 80, 90, 75, 68. I mean, I have numbers in the back that nobody can believe. Most favored nations. And remember, the Republicans did that. The Democrats did not do that. Republicans did it. And that's going to have a huge impact also on healthcare, because medicine, I mean, it's a big chunk of healthcare. And if you're bringing something down from $100 down to $20, $18, because we were subsidizing the entire world. And frankly, I had to get the countries to go along with it, and I had to threaten tariffs against them if they didn't approve. And the healthcare companies, who weren't easy either, but they said it doesn't matter because they'll never get the countries, because they didn't really want to do it. And I got the countries. I got every one of them. And really, people can't even believe it. But for the people standing behind me, if you use that alone, you should win. We should win the elections coming up. Anybody else? How about on this side?
Well, you mentioned the IRS, Mr. President. Their behavior has been atrocious. If you think about leaking your tax returns, the tax returns of others, and never any accountability. I must have questioned Janet Yellen 4 times, 5 times under oath about this, and never an answer. We stripped $10 billion from the IRS in this bill that you just signed. And today, I launched an investigation with my staff on all of these contractors that are associated with the ones that allowed your information to be put out. These contractors that hire activists to come in and do their work. These corporations here in America that bring activists in to do their work. That's going to come to an end.
They did leak my tax returns. It was terrible. The good news is I paid a hell of a lot of tax. I paid tens of millions of dollars. Tens of millions of dollars.
They have to wake up. Wake up.
with this whole group. And in terms of America being safer, a number of us were at the border 2 weeks ago. The border is secure. No one is coming across, not the 10,000 we saw every day with Joe Biden. And the American people still, in overwhelming numbers, Republicans, Democrats, and independents all say illegal immigrant criminals need to be deported. And Mr. President, you're doing that.
And no tax on tips.
No tax on Social Security.
No tax on
More money in people's pockets.
Think of it. And that was all the great big beautiful bill, as I call it, the great big beautiful bill. To me, that's what it is. And people are starting to realize it now. They're starting to see it. And a tax deduction on if you buy a car, if it's made in America, only if it's made in America. The rest we don't care about so much. But you buy a car, you get an interest deduction. You borrow money, you get an interest tax deduction. And that is, you take interest, you deduct it against your tax. So, to me, that's unbelievable for the people, unbelievable for our car companies, which is jobs. Anybody else have anything?
Mr. President, the biggest part of this bill is our national security.
Right.
And thank you. The men and women who serve this country are grateful to you. Absolutely. We give them a pay raise. We're building more ships, as you said, planes, missiles. We need to defend this country, and you're doing a great job in leading us in the right direction.
Thank you very much. Katie, go ahead. You were going to say something?
Yeah, no, Mr. President, this is just unprecedented leadership. The fact that you got everyone to come together and actually get these bills across the finish line, you heard it from the Speaker that hasn't happened in a long time. So 96% of the government being funded, your priorities put in place, Mr. President, so that we can make the country safer, we can make it more prosperous, and not only can we make America great again, but we can tell people now America is back.
Yeah, it's a great, we'll never forget MAGA, and we're all with MAGA, but I thought this was very appropriate, right?
Love it.
Right?
Love it. It says everything.
Cindy Hyde, come on, say something.
Well, there's a little hospital in here, a rural hospital in Maple, Mississippi,
Right?
called Franklin County Hospital. It would have closed the end of this month without this bill. Thank you from everybody in Mississippi, especially Franklin County.
And we've covered the rural very well. Nobody ever thought it was possible because we had a lot of opposition from the Democrats, as you know, but nobody thought it was possible. That's great. How about it? Anybody back there? Tom?
Best budget for Native Americans ever, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Appreciate that help.
So we'll sign it, and if you would have some questions of anybody up here.
Let me just piggyback. This rural America is taken care of in this bill, and let me, as Cindy says, so thank you for all America, but especially rural America.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. So I probably won't hold this up. And I think holding up one little page doesn't do it justice. In there, it's a lot of stuff, but it's signed. Thank you.
Thank you. On Iran, are the negotiations still happening this week?
Yeah.
Where will they be? And what do you need to hear from Iran?
They're all over. But they are negotiating. They'd like to do something, and we'll see if something's going to be done. They had a chance to do something a while ago, and it didn't work out, and we did Midnight Hammer. I don't think they want that happening again, but they would like to negotiate. We are negotiating with them right now, yes.
Mr. President.
Where will the meeting be? It seems like
I
it's
can't tell
changing.
you that.
Mr. President, what
There's more than one meeting. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, how was your meeting with Gustavo Petro earlier today, and did you come to any agreement on counter-narcotic efforts?
Yeah, we did. We worked on it, and we got along very well. He and I weren't exactly the best of friends, but I wasn't insulted because I'd never met him. I didn't know him at all. And we got along very well, and we're working on that. We're working on some other things, too, including sanctions. And we had a very good meeting.
So you did do it right now?
I thought he was terrific. He was very good. We got along great.
Mr. President, can you give us any update on how the talks are going for potential changes to the Department of Homeland Security? Have you agreed to any specifics?
None. Well, we have a secure border. In fact, we have 9 months now where nobody has come into our country illegally. Now, I don't know if I can believe that because, you go from 25 million people to nobody, but the Democrats do that. They're leaning left, the people that do that report. And for 9 months, they have said nobody has come into our. It is a strong, great border. We do have people coming into our country, but they're all coming in legally. You take a look at that, And look at what was going on a year and a half ago on our border, where criminals were coming in, drug dealers were coming in, people from mental institutions were coming in. The worst, they say the worst, I don't even know if I like the term, but the worst of the worst was coming into our country. And now we have virtually no, country it's beautiful to see. Even if you go down, some of you, I think, were down there a couple of weeks ago, and you couldn't believe it, right? Because you were there 2 years ago.
10,000 a day.
And 10,000 a day. And now you didn't even see anybody. Nobody comes up. We're saving lives because nobody comes up. They have to come through the jungles, and they're dying of all sorts of problems, including murder. And we have nobody coming in, and we're getting people out. That we have 11,888 murderers who came into our country. We're getting them out. We're getting them out fast. And the only place where there's a little bit of a problem, and I will tell you this, Minnesota, their crime because of us, because we've taken out thousands of criminals, their crime is down. Not because of anybody else, it's because of us. Their crime is down. But all over the country, wherever we're involved, we're getting criminals out of our country, and the crime rate now is the lowest it's been since 1900. That's 125 years. And that's despite the fact with an open border stupid policy, 25 million people, in my opinion, came into our country. And many of those people should not have been allowed to come into our country.
On Ukraine, Mr. President, yesterday you were talking about how Vladimir Putin had agreed to a pause during the cold weather. Overnight, those attacks have started up again. The worst.
It was Sunday to Sunday, and it opened up. And he hit him hard last night. No, he agreed. He kept his word on that. It's a lot. 1 week is, we'll take anything because it's really, really cold over there. But it was on Sunday, and he went from Sunday to Sunday.
Are you disappointed he didn't go further or go longer?
I would like to. I want him to end the war. I spoke to him. I want him to end the war.
Mr. President, thank you for taking our questions. What exactly did you mean when you said that you should nationalize elections? And which 15 states are you talking about?
I want to see elections be honest. And if a state can't run an election, I think the people behind me should do something about it. Because, if you think about it, a state is an agent for the federal government in elections. I don't know why the federal government doesn't do them anyway. But when you see some of these states about how horribly they run their elections, what a disgrace it is, I think the federal government, when you see crooked elections, and we had plenty of them, and by the way, we had them last time, but go to 2020 and look at the facts that are coming out. Rigged, crooked elections. If we have areas, take a look at Detroit, take a look at Pennsylvania, take a look at Philadelphia. You go take a look at Atlanta. Look at some of the places that horrible corruption on elections. And the federal government should not allow that. The federal government should get involved. These are agents of the federal government to count the votes. If they can't count the votes legally and honestly, then somebody else should take over.
But the Constitution says it should be states that administer elections, Mr. President. That's what the Constitution says.
They can administer the election, but they have to do it honestly.
Are you open to negotiating on warrants when it comes to ICE? This is an ask from Senator Schumer. Requiring search warrants for ICE and immigration officials.
I haven't even done it. I'm not thinking about search warrants. Yeah, Lindsey Graham is going to answer that.
No, it makes no sense. If we have to get a search warrant to get 15 million people out, Schumer's telling me he doesn't want them out. It's the most ridiculous idea. They do have some good ideas, I think. But I've got a better idea. It's your idea. In sanctuary cities. On immigration, I know what I'm talking about. I've got the scars to prove it. Y'all are playing like Biden didn't exist. Y'all won't tell the American people about Lake and Riley. It's a one-sided debate. For 4 years, our border was obliterated. They let them come in by the tens of millions, and they want to go back that way. We're not going. So, Mr. President, stick to your guns. If you got reforms that make ICE better, more professional, talk to me. But you should embrace what I'm suggesting. As long as 12 states have sanctuary policy, they'll keep coming. Unfortunately, you won't be president forever. These magnets of illegal immigration have to go. There is no upside to sanctuary city unless you're a complete radical nut job. The cops hate it, fraud around sanctuary cities, and you're going to get more illegal immigration. We're going to have a debate. I've been trying to solve this problem, but what the Democrats are doing is they're not getting to the underlying problem. It's not Stephen Miller, it's not Chrissy Nome, it's not me, it's not you. It's policies that have been on the books that don't work. So if you want a debate on how to solve this problem, show up next week. I'm going to take President Trump's idea that it's time to end the insane policy of sanctuary cities. We're going to take it to the floor and we're going to vote, and people in November are going to get to see who they trust to keep the border secure. Schumer or Trump? I'm with Trump.
Mr. President. And by the way, I hope you're going to press that very hard. And the other thing, we are not, well, we are with you. I think everybody's with you. It's a sanctuary for criminals. That's who it is. They could make our lives so much easier. All they have to do is hand over their criminals, hand over people that came into our country illegally that are murderers, that came out of jails, that came out of mental institutions, that are drug dealers. I can't believe in Minnesota that they want to have murderers walking all over the streets. I just don't believe it. Maybe somebody says it's good politics. I don't think it's good politics. I think it's really bad. The other thing we can't lose sight of is you probably have in Minnesota, and it's worse in some places like California, $19 billion in fraud. And we're going to find out, we're very deep into that investigation. But we're not going to forget that. A lot of people think that a lot of this nonsense that's going on is to try and, hide what's going on with respect to the fraud. They have at least $19 billion. You're hearing 9. Now I'm hearing it's 19, and it's probably much more. So it's they talk about incompetence. I think it's not incompetence. I think it's just pure fraud. These are dishonest people. They're bad people. I think they hate our country, and we're going to get to the bottom of it. But don't let this hide the fact that you have tremendous fraud. And if we find the fraud in this country, you'll have a balanced budget without even cutting anything. You'll literally have a balanced budget. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, in Colombia, are you planning to work with President Petro to fight guerrilla groups and terrorist organizations in Venezuela?
Well, they want me to do that, and we will. We're getting along very well in Venezuela with the leadership. Very, very well. We took in 50 million barrels of oil. It's right now heading to Houston. And we're getting along very well with them, but we're going to work with them, yes.
Mr. President, a few months ago you had in your office here Peter Mandelson, the British ambassador. You were shaking hands with him over a trade deal. He's today been forced to resign from the House of Lords, the upper house of the British Parliament, over his links to Jeffrey Epstein. Just wondered if you had any reaction to that, since obviously he was...
I didn't know about it, but I really don't know too much about it. I know who he is, but it's too bad. Speaking of Epstein, I will say this. A reporter named Wolf and Epstein conspired. This just came out yesterday in the millions of pages of documents, how crazy this is. Conspired against me in order to fight like hell to make sure I lose the election. That's the only thing that was mentioned about me. Now, about Democrats, some really bad stuff. But about me, that Wolf, whoever Wolf is, he wrote a couple of books, and Epstein conspired against me. Did you know that, Mr. Senator?
I did know that.
They conspired against me so I lose the election. Or worse.
Before it was reported.
So that takes care of Epstein as far as Trump is concerned, but you got a lot of Democrats out there that are very much involved with Epstein. But I'll be honest with you, you got to get back to running the country too.
Did you
millions and millions every week? When Epstein was alive, nobody cared about him. When he's dead, they care about him. But it's really a Democrat problem. It's not a Republican, it's a Democrat problem. The only problem Republicans have is that we have to get back to, number one, running our country, and then number two, very importantly, letting the public know what a great job we're doing. We have the greatest economy in the history of the world. We have $18 trillion being spent. The record was $3 trillion many years ago, not by us, by another country. I won't say the country. Yeah, please.
Did you read those new files, Mr. President, that came out?
Have you been briefed on Savannah Guthrie's mom missing in Arizona?
I think it's terrible.
Would you commit to more federal agents like helping out on the search?
Sure,
or
I
anything
would.
like
I'm going to
that?
call her later on. I think it's a terrible thing. I always got along very good with Savannah. Very unusual situation, but we're going to find out.
Have you heard anything?
Yeah, what do you want?
On the Epstein files, you talked about Democrats who were in there. Elon Musk was also in there, and so was your Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick and correspondence that he had with him. Did you read those new files that were published by the Department of Justice?
Quickly, guys, we're going to take a quick 2-minute break and come back to the president as he answers questions from reporters. We'll see you in 2. All right, folks, we're going to go back to the president as he answers questions from reporters inside the Oval Office.
You mentioned 2 names. I'm sure they're fine. I'm sure they're fine. Otherwise, it would have been major headlines.
A lot of women who are survivors of Epstein's are unhappy with those redactions that came out. Some of them, entire witness interviews are totally blacked out. Do you think that they should be more
With the fact
transparent?
that they thought they released too much. You know, I heard that, and you tell me something else. No. I think it's really time for the country to get onto something else. Really. You know, now that nothing came out about me, other than it was a conspiracy against me, literally, by Epstein and other people. But I think it's time now for the country to maybe get onto something else.
But what would you say to people who feel like they haven't gotten
healthcare
justice, Mr. President?
Something that people care about. Yeah, what did you say? Go ahead,
What would you say
CNN.
to
are
the
so
survivors
bad.
who feel like they haven't gotten
You are
justice?
the worst reporter. No wonder CNN has no ratings because of people like you. You know, she's a young woman. I don't think I've ever seen you smile. I've known you for 10 years. I don't think I've ever seen a smile
Well,
on your face.
I'm asking you about survivors.
You know
of
why?
Jeffrey
You know why you're not smiling? Because you know you're not telling the truth, and you're a very dishonest organization, and they should be ashamed of you.
These are survivors of a sexual abuser.
Health care. And the bill that was just passed does not include your health care savings account. So this is a question for you and maybe for Mr. Speaker as
I'm
well.
so proud of the healthcare savings accounts because it's going to happen. And hopefully, instead of insurance, and I hope this happens, and I hope you guys can do it, let the insurance companies not do quite as well. You know, they're going up 15, 16, 17, 100%. Think of it. The money should be paid directly to the people. You know, trillions of dollars goes out. The money should go to the people. They should buy their own health care. It can be in a health care, account, savings account, any account you want to make. The money should go to the people. The people should buy their own health care, and they're going to save a lot of money, and they're going to have much better health care. And it's very simple. The problem is the Democrats are owned by those insurance companies. They're owned lock, stock, and barrel. And the Democrats will never vote on it because the Republicans should get that through. And you know how you get it through? The filibuster. Get rid of the filibuster and start voting. Yes.
Mr. President, today we heard that the Clintons set deposition dates to testify before the House Oversight Committee. Any reaction to that related to the
I think it's a shame, to be honest. I always liked him. Her, yeah. She was a very capable woman. She was better in debating than some of the other people, I will tell you that. She was smart woman. I hate to see it in many ways. I hate to see it, but then I look at me. They went after me like, they wanted me to go to jail for the rest of my life. Then it turned out I was innocent, very innocent. I had a friend that said, a very smart friend, he's a very wealthy man, knows the life, streetwise guy. He said, you have to be the most honest person anywhere in the world because there's never been anybody who's been examined up and down. I had hundreds of thousands of pages of documents, millions of pages. With all of that, they found absolutely nothing wrong. Remember, his tax returns, they fought for years and years. And then the Supreme Court, I was surprised, they ruled I had to give my tax returns. I'm the only one that had to ever do that. But I had to give my tax returns. I gave my tax returns. They hired the best accounting firms in the world. They found nothing. And this friend of mine said, you have to be the most honest person in the world. He actually said, me referring to him, I'm a pretty honest guy, but I could have never withstood that. They've gone through millions and millions of pages, and here I sit winning an election in a landslide, winning the popular vote, winning all 7 swing states, winning 86% of the counties in the United States. That's why those maps that you see are all red. And so they tried to put me in jail. And I shouldn't feel this way, but I feel badly that they have to go through that. But then I say, but they did far worse than me. They wanted to put me in jail. Think of it. I was a very good president. We had a great first term. Rebuilt the military, biggest tax cuts ever, biggest regulation cuts ever. But, I will say this. I think I can say, what do you think, Lindsay? My second term is blowing my first term away. And my first term was really good.
Reagan plus.
Reagan plus, yeah. Well, whatever. Thank you very much, everyone.
All right, guys, that is it for the president signing legislation to end the partial government shutdown. We, of course, will be back here in 2 minutes with more here on WCNC Plus. See you in 2. Welcome back, everyone, as we continue to bring you the news here inside Impact Studio on WCNC Plus for the next hour plus. We're going to go straight to Governor Tim Walz and other leaders in Minnesota as they continue to talk about the situation that they see on the ground with ICE and Border Patrol agents. Let's go to this now.
Policymakers, academics, and others have long raised concerns about the conditions in detention facilities. While many facilities have screening and safety protocols, we do not know the rigor of those protocols or their compliance with them. It is not clear to us what kind of medical care or consideration is being provided to the people in detention, and we are learning about situations like the measles outbreak in that Texas facility through the media. Certain groups are at greater risk of poor outcomes, including young children, pregnant people, the elderly, and those who are immunocompromised. And I don't think we can overstate the psychological stress of detention itself. In addition to the concerns about the public health impacts of detention and the conditions in these facilities, we also know that federal actions have taken a toll on the mental and physical health of Minnesotans. People are afraid to leave their homes, families are delaying care or not going in at all, community clinics are reporting high no-show rates. And in public health, we talk about adverse childhood experiences and how the exposure to trauma, to stress, to parental separation and instability can affect a child's development and their health over a lifetime. A child's well-being flourishes in nurturing, stable environments, not in an environment of fear and uncertainty.
Thank you, Commissioner. Dr. Lewis.
Good afternoon. I am Brenda Lewis, the superintendent of Fridley Public Schools. And what I am sharing today is a tiny fraction of the clear and present reality in my district and many districts throughout the state. Let me be very clear about my role. I am not here to debate or shape immigration policy. That is not my lane. My responsibility, and frankly my obligation, is the safety of children, families, and staff, and the right of every single child to come to school to learn without fear. For weeks, I have been speaking out and publicly documenting the impact of ICE activity in and around our schools. I have done so transparently because our children, families, our staff, and the public deserves honesty. And they have the right to learning environments that are safe, stable, and academically focused, not terror-ridden zones defined by fear and intimidation. Since doing that, the retaliation has been real, and it has been escalating every single day. I have personally been followed twice by ICE agents. I am a U.S.-born citizen, born in Lake City, Minnesota. One of our school board members was followed for over an hour, U.S.-born citizen. Multiple board members have had ICE vehicles outside of their homes for many hours on end. This happened last week and again yesterday. 4 black SUVs outside of a board member's home multiple times yesterday. ICE staged at 2 of our school buildings on Saturday, moments after the New York Times article was released. They also staged again this morning. This is not incidental. This is not benign, and it is having a devastating impact on our school community and school communities throughout Minnesota. I think we can all agree that none of us want violent criminals who are not here legally in our neighborhoods, but I also ask, I believe we all agree that we do not want school children terrorized, families afraid, or our staff prevented from attending and working in our schools because of sheer and present terror. Right now, students are afraid to come to school. Parents are afraid to drop them off. Staff are coming to work wondering if today will be the day that something happens in one of our buildings. We are seeing attendance impacts. Families are choosing virtual learning not because it's best for their child, but because fear has taken over. And this fear is not perceived. This is justified fear. In response, we have stood up every support we can because that is what public schools do. We have added security. We have added trained observers at all of our buildings. We have adjusted transportation. We have adjusted arrival procedures. We have adjusted dismissal procedures. We have increased social work, counseling, and mental health supports. We have expanded virtual learning and meal access for families afraid to leave their homes. We have cabinet-level leaders physically present in every single one of our buildings. We are communicating constantly with transparency and care. I personally patrol around all of our schools every morning and every afternoon. And when I do this, I certainly lets me know through hand gestures that they know who I am. And still, our fear persists because no amount of school-based support can undo the trauma caused by federal agents posturing in, on, and near our school properties. Schools must be safe places. They must never become places of intimidation. ICE does not belong in and around our schools, in and around our bus stops. Their presence is harming children. It is disrupting learning, and it's eroding trust. I will continue to be transparent. I will continue to speak up. And I am asking urgently for action. Get ICE out of schools, out of parking lots, and out of our bus stops. Our children deserve to feel safe when they come to school. This is not political. This is all of our responsibility.
Thank you, Dr. Tracy.
Hello, my name is Tracy Zhang, and I'm the school social worker at Highland Elementary in Columbia Heights. As many of you know, our communities and schools have been heavily targeted by ICE. You've heard from many representatives today about what's happening to our families, but I want to share what this looks like inside of the school from a staff member, and what it looks like for children, educators, and the families that we serve. Over the past month, my role as a school social worker has changed drastically. I rarely meet with students anymore, and it's not because they don't need support, it's because we see fewer kids walking through the doors each day. Students used to be absent because they were sick, now they're absent because they feared deportation. Students used to ask me for help navigating friendships, now they ask me how to cope with ICE breaking apart their families and taking their friends. Much of my day is now spent coordinating food deliveries to homes, finding volunteers to transport students to school, and making sure basic needs are met for families who are too afraid to leave their homes. My job has always been to ensure students have food, clothing, and shelter, but I never imagined having to provide these services under such traumatic and distressing circumstances. Our teachers and staff are no longer just educators. They have become caregivers, advocates, and lifelines for our students and families. They deliver food, walk students to and from school, patrol school grounds to ensure safety, and do countless other things behind the scenes that most people never see. Our teachers are deeply committed. They really are. They're passionate, and they will always step up for their families and students, but they are exhausted. I am exhausted. Every day, I see the stress, tears, and fear as they face the uncertainty of each school day. How many kids will be in class that day? And how many will go home to find a parent missing? We're grateful that Liam and his father were able to return home safely, though we know this is just the beginning of the support that he'll need to process this experience that will likely have long-lasting traumatic effects. I also want to share the story of another Columbia Heights student, the first student in our district to be detained a month ago. That morning, I was asked to help locate a fourth grade student, Elizabeth Zuna. I met her father, Luis, in the hallway, and he told me that Elizabeth and her mother had been taken by ICE that morning on her way to school. Elizabeth was able to call her dad, and an ICE agent said they were going to bring her to school. Several staff members, including myself, waited outside the school building for a vehicle to approach and drop her off. No one ever came. That morning turned into hours of phone calls, desperately trying to locate a child. We did everything we could to keep Elizabeth's father calm and allowed him to remain at school as we searched for answers. By that afternoon, we had learned that Elizabeth and her mother were already taken to Texas. In my profession, I have seen many people break down in grief, but the image of Elizabeth's father will stay with me forever. I watched him sit in his car, bury his head in his hands, and cry uncontrollably. And those are images you do not forget. Today, Elizabeth and her mother are still being held in a detention center in Dilley, Texas. We urge our leaders to act with compassion, common sense, and urgency, because children belong in schools, not in detention. We're calling for Elizabeth to be allowed to wait out this legal process in a safe, humane, and loving environment, one that recognizes her dignity, humanity, and her right as a child. Children deserve safety, and schools should be places of learning, not fear. And no child should ever disappear on her way to school. Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy. And a thank you to the folks who spoke here. We're living at a time when school administrators fear for their own safety for speaking up about the most basic of things of protecting their children and asking them not to do this. I'm grateful to the tens of thousands of Minnesotans who've taken to the streets, the helpers who've helped us, kept this peaceful. I will say the anger and the moral outrage that I feel, I think is felt by many Minnesotans. We're trying to act like we're negotiating some type of budget deal or something. Nothing could be further from the truth. The extortion that the federal government's trying to put on Minnesota and the harm, this is on purpose. This is on purpose to hurt us and make us fear and capitulate. But I think it's been clear, and I hope folks are listening who can make a decision on this. This group's going nowhere. Our parents are going nowhere. We'll stand with our children as many weeks, months, years it takes to do this, to end this, as the judge said, ill-conceived, dangerous operation that has nothing to do with safety or sane immigration policy. So Minnesotans, stand that line, do so peacefully, know that every lever of power that we can possibly exert, from the Attorney General's office, from the Secretary of State's office, from the Governor's office, every elected official, and on the federal level, is being used. And I don't know, I don't think appealing to decency, appealing to human values matters. I think we just have to appeal that we're going nowhere, and this is still a democracy, and votes will be cast for decency over cruelty, for democracy over authoritarianism, but that can't be our only plan. Elizabeth needs to be home today. These children need to be accounted for today. We cannot wait for midterm elections, especially when it's very clear that there is no intention by this federal government to have fair elections. There's every intention to suppress those. So I'm grateful for this team. I'm grateful for the work. Know that the state of Minnesota, through the Department of Health, the Department of Education, and all of our tools, is working to make sure that we're addressing what are going to be long-term mental and physical issues that come out of this, but we will continue with it. With that, we'll take questions. Yes. Go. Good. I have not spoken directly to them yet.
What do you make of DHS Secretary Kristi Noem announcing that federal agents will begin wearing body cameras?
Look, I'll just say this. Kristi Noem is the most ill-prepared and absolutely worst choice for any cabinet position we could. The idea of after three of our Minnesotans are shot, 2 murdered, all of that's happened. How about that body camera Alex footage? I've been asking for that. Asking for the names of who did it. I'm asking for some response. This is called damage control, and the audacity after they were given $70 billion and are the 5th largest army in the world, that they're asking for more taxpayer dollars from states like Minnesota, who are payer states. I put no stake in what she says at all, but here's the good thing is, every single Minnesotan has a camera. Keep filming, keep keeping track of this, keep accountability.
Governor, there seems to be a feeling among many in Minnesota that there's no path out of this, that there's no way through the tunnel. Where did you leave things with Tom Homan? When's the last time you spoke to him? Is there anything
This morning.
come to the table with?
This morning, and I articulated again, we're not in a negotiation, we're not in a demand, we follow law, they know that, you've reported on that, and my expectation, not a demand, my expectation is draw down these forces, get them all out of here, give us the ability to investigate the murders of our neighbors and stop the assault on Minnesota. It would be my expectation, and it's there in their court, especially after everything that's happened here and with Liam and Elizabeth and countless faceless others who are our children, that they will address this. And it's my expectation and that we will see a dramatic shift in where this is at for the better for Minnesota starting this week. That would be my expectation. So yes, sir.
Yes, thank you, Governor Walz. There are 4 students in the Columbia Heights School District that are currently being detained in Dilley, Texas. Have you been able to talk to the families?
Yeah, yes, RT was anybody. Yeah.
Good afternoon, Zena Stenvik, Superintendent, Columbia Heights. Our staff members who are here with us today are in connection and contact with the legal counsel for the families. So we're working on it. We'd like them back.
Governor, I'm wondering if, session is somehow 2 weeks away. Are you thinking about any sort of relief or funding package for everything from food security for families who, can't go to school or work? Cities are saying their law enforcement offices are under strain. Anything along those lines that you're starting to think about?
Yeah, and our legislative team is here, and we're working with legislators who want to get this done. I mean, our dilemma will be in a session is that we have a split legislature, and the leadership in the House has not said a word about the children. They've not said a word condemning the killing of Alex, won't even address it, continue to dodge the question. So my concern is that in our agencies, we're trying to do what's allowed through the executive branch to be able to address some of those things. We do need, I think, some legislative fixes. I do think we need to, especially with our schools, understanding, and I don't think it's sinking in yet, the immense costs that are being put on these very tight budgets. Simultaneously, all of our federal funding is being, what's the term?
Impounded?
Impounded illegally. So the assault you're seeing is one level. The assault that we're seeing in the agencies and the ability to do the things that the state will need to do in this crisis is also being undermined. They are doing everything they can to destroy the foundational pieces of what makes Minnesota great, and we are getting zero help from Republican legislators who are going to have to be a part of this. And look, I continue to say this. Not a single one of our leadership at the federal level have said a word about this. Being Tom Emmer, being the number 3 person in the House, has all of the capacity to do something about this, and all we hear is disdain. We hear cruelty towards the people who were victims of this. So I think we're going to have a tough legislative session. I will say that, because until you address the honesty, this is no political discussion, and I'm not in a debate with you on this. We need a full capitulation by the Republicans to talk about how horrific this was, ask them to get out of here, and then help us clean up the mess that they created.
Yes. What are your thoughts about the Stallworth bill to withhold federal funding and turn over voter information?
Well, it's not going to happen, and that's the extent of Pete Stauber's intellect and legislative ability, so we'll move on.
Question for the AG. Is there any legal recourse that will come of the targeting of children and their families on school grounds? Is there anything being considered in that realm?
Yeah, well, let me just say that our lawsuit against Operation Metro Surge covered all of these things. And I just want everybody to know there's a little bit misunderstanding about the posture of the case. The court did not give us the emergency temporary relief we were looking for. But the case moves on. And we are seeking expedited discovery and look forward to a decision as soon as possible. But the reason for the court's decision is because no president ever marshaled the forces of the ICE or anything else to attack one state this way. So there's really not much in the area of precedent. And so we believe there was enough for the court to make the decision that it did. It ended up ruling in the way it saw best. But this case marches on, and it does have everything to do with the relief that we're seeking to protect our children, our schools, and many other public institutions, and the rights of every Minnesotan. So.
One more.
Yes.
With NBC, sir.
Yes.
A follow-up on the body camera question. Body camera programs only work if the video's released.
Yes.
Do you have any confidence that the administration will release video when tragedies happen, when controversies happen, when the public didn't?
No. And you could have backed up that when you frame that question. You have any confidence in the administration? No on everything. On every single thing that comes after that, because they've proven to be the case. I mean, this, and I don't even understand from the politics of this. This is just stupid politics on their part, because I would guess that 90% of Americans are like, we don't believe you're going to release the footage, and why did you bring this up after the fact when they should have already had, and it's state law in Minnesota that you have body cameras on and you turn over that footage. So no, there's absolutely no reason. I still have yet to have them confirm to me who killed Alex, what their names were. If I'm not mistaken, you can help me on this. Have they confirmed that those names that were released are theirs, or they did it? No, they have not, right? Governor of Minnesota had two of my citizens killed, and yet we don't get a confirmation on who did it, what's happening, and at this point in time still saying we have no say in any of the investigation into that, let alone potential prosecution. So I think we're the frogs in the boiling water, and man, it is bubbling now. This is foundational, as the Attorney General said, to everything this country is founded on. And this assault on Minnesota, for whatever false reason they want to give, and it continues to change, they don't care. And I would say what's most terrifying about this is if you ask the question, do I have any faith that this administration will honor court orders? No, I do not.
Governor,
I do not. Go ahead, Eric.
Governor, do you have concerns about the midterm elections? How will they run?
Not because of how Minnesota does it, because Steve Simon and the nonpartisan or Republican and Democrat who run these elections in our counties, in the states, as it is by the Constitution, as the 10th Amendment guarantees, and Minnesotans' elections are the fairest, the freest, the most secure, and the most well-attended. And that makes us a target. And that is exactly why the President of the United States said, not they, he said Republicans should federalize the election with at least 15 states. When is the President of the United States receive a nightly call from an FBI special agent raiding a voting section with the Director of National Intelligence? I don't know, I always used to talk to my students when I would teach them about history. I said the challenging thing about when an event happens is it's kind of like trying to read when it's up close, and you get a little space as time goes by and you're able to understand. The rest of the world is seeing this for what it is. All of us need to understand that too, and I will again make my appeal to the other 49 states and territories. We're just the test grounds for this. And what works here and what doesn't work here, and a softening or whatever, they're going to find out. As of today, I got to be honest with you, less smoke on the ground, but I think it's more chilling than it was last week because of the shift to the schools, the shift to the children, the shift to this type of stuff. So, yeah.
You talked, sort of kind of rephrased your own words back to you, but I'd like you to clarify when you said about your phone call with Parliament, and you ended that by saying it's your expectation you might start to see a shift kind of within the week. What makes you confident to say that, and what shift do you expect to see?
Well, the shift I expect to see is pretty simple. A clear reduction of these forces immediately back to pre-levels and 100, 150 that were here on a normal basis, working on the worst of the worst, working with the State Department of Corrections for decades, all of the normal processes on getting the worst of the worst out of here, letting us be part of these investigations, the BCA being part of the investigations, and then a reduction in this attack across us. I would hope that would be there. Look, we all know that the only reason Tom Homan's here and Bovino's here because Donald Trump was watching TV last Saturday, a week ago, saw the horrific aftermath of Alex's murder, and told them that this doesn't look good. He even used terms like, well, you know, that guy's stock's not as high as it is anymore. This is reality TV for him, and he was losing in the ratings. He's going to continue to lose in the ratings. So my expectations on this is not that they found any heart, not that Liam being down in a, you know, a measles-infested facility with no safeguards, Minnesotans being terrorized. None of that's making a difference. What's making a difference is a district that they won by 17 points got flipped by 14 points the other way, and those are the things that happen. So that's our expectation. Yeah, we'll go.
That is your impression is based on what Mr. Holman said to you, not your view of the state of play. What he said. Yeah,
it's my yes, a combination of both. That I don't see how they continue on with this in any way that makes any sense, both politically or operationally for them. And I also think that they brought someone in who may be able to gain some control over these rogue agents and bring this thing back in. So look, we'll see. That's my expectation. What I would just say on this is none of this matters unless it's proof on the ground, unless there's changes. That's what we have to see. All right. Thank you all. Grateful.
All right, folks, we're going to take another 2-minute break, and we return. We're going to get an update on Savannah Guthrie's mom, who's been missing now for more than a day. And apparently we just got some updates from TMZ on potentially some things being sent to her. So we'll get more information right after this 2-minute break. All right, folks, there's been a lot of talk about Savannah Guthrie's mom, obviously missing from her home in Arizona. We just got an update a couple hours ago on the situation. Let's go to this right now.
Good morning. I don't know that everybody knows who's here. Of course, I'm Sheriff Chris Nanos. John Edwards is the Tucson chief here for the FBI, and he'll have some words for you as well. You know, this is really, for me, pretty new. all the immediate attention. So I apologize to you for sometimes I'm speaking in generalities, and I'm not used to everybody hanging on to my words and then trying to hold me accountable for what I say, but I understand. So we're going to try our best to be succinct with you in the future, and also more important for you to understand is we have a lot of work in front of us. We have a job to do, and we have someone's life who is in jeopardy. And so job number one is we got to find her, and we got to work hard to do that. I understand there's great attention on this, and rightfully so, and I appreciate it, and I thank you for it, because it has generated a lot of leads for us. And so we're tracking those leads, and we're doing things with evidence that you would expect us to be doing. So having said that, we're going to set this up. I know that a number of you yesterday, you guys drove me crazy. Yesterday I was going from AM to all the way to 9, 10, 11, midnight, answering concerns and questions, and it's just too tough. And it's not fair to the case. So what I'm going to tell you is today we're going to do this similar to what we're doing right now. Here we'll take questions. It's not really my briefing, it's your briefing. You'll be able to ask us some questions. We'll probably shut you off after a while because I just can't be here all day. We have work to do. But we'll take some questions, and then in a couple of days, unless something breaks, we'll do this every couple of days. So, and we'll set up with you through our PIO teams to give you anything that comes up that might change, but clearly they'll notify you on these, what I call media briefings. So with that, I'm going to ask John to come up. If you've got a statement to say, John, and then we'll take some questions and we'll get back to work.
Hello, I'm John Edwards. My spelling is JONEDWARDS. I'm the Assistant Special Agent in charge of the FBI's office here in Tucson. First, we want the community to know that the FBI is doing everything in our power to bring Nancy Guthrie home to her family. The FBI is working alongside the Pima County Sheriff's Department on this incident. In terms of what the FBI is doing, we are providing the following support. Primarily, it's analytical and technical support in the following ways. We're downloading and analyzing cell phones, obtaining cell tower information, conducting interviews, and providing any and all investigative support that the Sheriff's Department needs. We're looking at this from every angle, but we need your help. If you live in the area or saw something on Saturday night, the 31st of January, or Sunday morning, the 1st of February, please report it to the Pima County Sheriff's Department or the FBI at 1-800-CALL-FBI. Every lead and tip is important. We are aggressively pursuing and looking into every single one. Again, please help us bring Nancy Guthrie home. Thank you.
We'll take some questions.
Sheriff, is there any indication so far as to whether this was a random abduction or targeted?
It's like I said earlier, we're looking at all the leads, and we don't know. We're going to assume both sides of that. We'll look at both sides of that.
Do you have any idea what Nancy Guthrie was wearing, or the type of car that she might have left from, or any identifiable information that the public could use to help with those tips?
We do not.
Sheriff, do you believe that one or more than one person was involved in the kidnapping?
I just no clue. It could have been one. It could have been more.
Is there any indication that Nancy Guthrie is still alive? We know the medication played a critical role here. It's been 48 hours. She needs it every single day. Are you looking for someone that is still alive?
We hope we are. We hope we are.
Sheriff, you said earlier that you don't believe there's a wider threat to the public. If you're not sure if it's targeted, why do you believe there's no wider threat to the public?
Well, we have crime in Tucson all the time, right? Like any city. And so there, when you say a threat to the public, is there somebody out there who's kidnapping elderly people in the middle of the night every night? We've not heard that. We don't believe that's the case. We do believe that Nancy was taken from her home against her will, and that's where we're at.
Sheriff, when you reference violence at the site, can you elaborate on that? And also, was there a sign of forced entry, any valuables taken, any bank or ATM cards used after her disappearance?
We're not getting into that. What I'd tell you is, like any crime scene, we processed this crime scene. We gathered all the evidence we could, to include looking for what? Fingerprints, DNA, camera images, everything you can imagine, and we gathered that out. Those things have been submitted forward to labs, to technological companies to help us, and we're like you. We're waiting for those returns to come back.
Did you find DNA that did not belong in that house?
The window of time from when she was last seen to when she was reported missing, and I know you guys are asking for help for the public, is there any way to narrow down what time you might be helpful? I know there was a report about a pacemaker dinging like around 2 o'clock in the morning. Is there any way to indicate to people, hey, look around 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. to help them identify what they might have?
You know, I really don't want to get into narrowing down the time, because narrowing it down means we could miss some tips and leads. We're working on with the data we've submitted for investigative analysis. We're working to see if that time can be tightened up. But for now, we're going with what we told you earlier. She was dropped off at 9:30, and she was found to be missing at about 11 o'ck Sunday morning.
Sheriff,
Let me get this report.
DNA of anyone else found in the house?
We've submitted all kinds of samples for DNA, and we've gotten some back, but nothing to indicate any suspects.
Anybody strange in the neighborhood? I know you're looking at video, different surveillance camera, anything that we should be looking at, different cars?
I have nothing in that regard.
Have any demands been made by kidnappers?
We have all kinds of investigative leads we're working on.
Sheriff, we noticed that the camera on the front of the house is missing. Do you believe the perpetrator purposely took the camera?
Don't know that. We're looking into that as well. Yes, sir.
That scene been fully processed now. We saw deputies leave around 6 o'clock last night. We didn't see tape go up. You know, an Amazon driver was able to walk right up to the door. Is that pretty standard for how you handle this?
The scene is done. We're done with the residents. If we need to go back to get, maybe we want to do something with some other piece of evidence there, we contact the family and let them know. But we've turned that over to the family. I don't have the time, but it was sometime yesterday, I believe.
Have you recovered any tire tracks or any footprints around the house?
No.
Was there any kind of...
Could you please take us through the timeline that you've established of the events so far, and with this one she
9:45, we were told she was left at her home by the family. At 11 o'clock in the morning, the family got notice from somebody at church that she was not at church. They went to the home, found her to be missing. That's the timeline. From Saturday night, 9:45, we'll say, to Sunday morning, 11 o'clock. Let me get somebody back here, please.
Have you interviewed the people that reported her missing, the people from the...
That's the family. Oh, from the church as well. We're doing all kinds of interviews. Yes, I'm sure we have.
Have you been able to access the footage from the cameras at the house?
That's all been submitted, and we're doing our best with those companies who own those cameras or built those cameras.
Are there any plans to release those videos from the cameras, from the surveillance? Are there any plans to release the video from the cameras, surveillance footage?
We don't even have them yet, so no, not at this time. This is an active investigation.
There's a report of a suspicious man a few doors down last week. Is that anything that you guys are aware of?
I'm not aware of it. My detectives may be. There's a lot of detective work being done, and I just can't get into those weeds or even discuss with you what they may not have learned. Yes, ma'am.
Support from the board yesterday. Are there specific resources that maybe the board has not granted that would have made a difference responding to this case?
Well, you know, that's getting into my own local politics. I apologize. Yes, the board a few weeks ago denied a request for more cameras, more drones, more AI capabilities with our own body-worn cameras. All those things, you know, you'd have to talk to the board. I'm not, probably not the right time to go into this.
Sheriff,
let me get somebody else here.
Sheriff,
Yes.
she's still in this area.
Do we believe?
Is she still in this area, or is there somewhere else?
We don't know where she is, so we'd be like any investigation. You start from the point of where we last saw her, and we work out, and we are working as far out as we can go.
Sheriff, were there any signs of forced entry at the house, like any broken windows or whatever? Does it seem like people just went in and out?
There are concerns at the house that concerned us from the early on part of this investigation, and that's all I will tell you. Yes, ma'am.
Sure. Is there any history with Nancy needing police at her place, or concerns where she was worried about somebody following her? Or
you know, our investigative team has looked into all of those things, and that has not been brought to my attention. So she may have had something like that, but I'm not aware of it.
What is the extent of collaboration with the federal government? Obviously, FBI is here, CBP, are there other agencies also involved?
CBP's role in this was in our search and rescue mission, where we constantly use them. They have great dogs too. Our dogs aren't tracking dogs for this. Theirs are, and so they came out and did that. Anybody else though that we've asked for help from, whether it's the FBI, I know if we needed help from CBP or DEA or ATF, they would gladly give it. I've heard from leadership from all sorts of agencies, not just at the federal level, but across the state. Every one of them saying, Sheriff, you need anything, we're here.
Sure. So you obviously said investigators, when they got on scene, they found suspicious circumstances. When the family called originally to report her missing, did they say anything about the state of the home?
I don't know that. I don't know. Hang on, let me make sure I'm getting some different people here. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so there was blood that was found inside the house and you're testing it for DNA. How much blood and where was it?
I'm not saying there's blood inside that house or outside that house. What I'm saying is our team processed a scene like you would think of any crime scene. We go in and we process it. We look for things like that: blood, DNA, any kind of physical evidence, fingerprints, anything, and all of that is gathered and submitted to a lab. That lab will report back to us what they find. So far, what we found from that lab is nothing that would tell us this is who did this.
We'll take a couple more questions, and then the sheriff's got to go.
Sheriff, can you walk through the evidence that was found at the scene in as much detail as possible?
No, I cannot.
What is the bottleneck to the surveillance footage? I know you said some of it is in the cloud, but you've also been reached out to tech companies that are saying they're cooperating. Why do not have the surveillance footage on the
That's what I tell them. How come I don't have this? Where's my evidence? It is a process, and I'm sorry, but you know, we're grateful that there's large corporations and companies who have bent over backwards to help us, to say, hey, Sheriff, tell us what you need. And so, yeah, I can't slam them. And we've asked them. They know the urgency here. But I'm like you. What do you mean I don't know that now? Yeah, it's tough.
Follow up on an answer that you gave earlier. You were asked if there
Last question.
You were asked if there was any ransom, and you didn't say no. You said we're following all leads. Does that mean a ransom has come in?
We're following all leads we have. That's all I can tell you. We've got hundreds of leads, and it's from you that produce those leads by telling people we need help, and I'm grateful for that. But I'm not going to get into all that. We have a team designated to deal with all of our leads. They're looking into all of that. We are sharing all of our leads with the FBI. They are helping us in evaluating those leads, how good they are, where that priority should be, and so we're just. Look, I know you guys are doing your job, and you're doing a great job, but we have a job to do too, and I really need to back away from this for a while, and we'll see you, unless something breaks, we'll see you Thursday morning. PIO will give you a time frame, I'm guessing somewhere around 11:30.
All right, that was an update, as you heard from the sheriff down in Arizona, on the situation with this missing woman, obviously Savannah Guthrie's mother. We'll get more, obviously, in 2 minutes here on WCNC+. We'll see you then. Another humongous update from Olympic medalist Lindsey Vonn, who's preparing for the Milan Cortina Games with a rupture to her ACL, so a big injury. But it sounds like she has an update on if she will be competing. So I'm going to go to this right now.
I will not go home regretting not trying. I will do everything in my power to be in that starting game. Can you pause it?
Hi, Lindsay. Alessandro here.
It's right there. Oh, sorry.
If you had to put a number, like if you were 100% before the injury, from a scale to 0 to 100, how would you rate your fitness at the moment?
I mean, my fitness is 100%, but that doesn't mean that my body is 100%. I can't give you a percentage of that. I mean, I'm still strong. You know, it's only been a few days, so if you're looking at scientifically, you don't lose strength that quickly. So as long as my swelling is down, my muscles are firing, my strength is what it was a few days ago.
Lindsay, Amanda from Swedish newspaper Aftonbladet. How was it for you when you got the results about the ACL? And are you in any pain? Will you be skiing on painkillers or shots or?
Nope, I am not in pain. It was painful initially after the crash, and which is why I had concern, which is why I went via helicopter to the hospital. I had a feeling it was bad, but I held out hope until I saw the MRI in front of me. But I haven't cried. I have not deviated from my plan. I have been determined. And, you know, normally in the past, there's always a moment where you break down and you realize the severity and of things and that your dreams are slipping through your fingers, but I didn't have that this time. I'm not letting this slip through my fingers. I'm gonna do it. End of story. So I'm not letting myself go down that path. I'm not crying. My head is high. I'm standing tall. And I'm gonna do my best. And whatever the result is, that's what it is. But never say I didn't try.
Lindsay, over here. Thanks. Savannah Hamilton, CBC. In a recent, media piece you did the Players Tribune, you said that you're still a girl from Minnesota that loves to ski. And I think there's nothing that showcases that than skiing on course. When you think about representing your country, especially your state, what does it mean right now, with everything going on in Minnesota, to be the embodiment of the word hope?
I mean, I have family and friends in Minnesota. It's where I grew up, and my heart is incredibly heavy for everyone at home. And I realize the magnitude of the position that I'm in right now. And I think the best thing I can do is to do exactly what I said, stand tall and have hope and show the world what America is, who we are as people, because we are more than what's happening right now. We are so much more than that, and the best thing the best thing I can do is represent us well, and it is a privilege to be here. I don't take that lightly, and I always do my best to make our country proud, and I hope I can do that in these games.
Hi, Lindsay, Swedish television. Can you describe the feeling of going up there today? Were you anxious, nervous, or just excited to be able to actually try it again?
I mean, every time I get to go on the mountain, I'm excited. And today was, I was full of hope and excitement, and I was happy that I was in the position to even try, you know, and I was even happier when I was finished because it felt really good. And my team is smiling. We're all very hopeful and all very optimistic.
Thank you.
Hi, Lindsay. I'm really sorry to hear what happened to you, but you're still smiling. How do you keep your confidence up?
You know, this isn't my first rodeo. it's hard for me to lose faith in myself and what I know I'm capable of. I know my body very well, so I have a high degree of confidence in myself, and it doesn't matter to me if everyone thinks that, maybe I can't do this with no ACL, but I still believe in myself, and that makes me smile. That makes me confident. That makes me happy. And no matter what, I'm going to try my best. So what is there to be sad about? I'm still able to be here. I'm still skiing. I'm still living the dream at 41. And that makes me happy that I have that chance.
Lindsay, Lawrence Marzi from 9 Australia. Your comeback, your Olympic comeback, and this never say die attitude, what message do you want that to send to young children, young skiers around the world?
I mean, I think overall in this whole journey, this whole comeback has really just been about always believing in yourself. It doesn't matter how old or how young you are. If you believe and you work hard, anything is possible. And I think a lot of times people's minds are closed and they don't see what's possible because they don't look. And I've always had my head up and my eyes open and my heart open for any opportunity that lies in front of me. And I hope that everyone realizes that they can do it too. Maybe they should have an ACL. But I think that, through hard work and determination and hope and self-confidence, belief, there's nothing standing in your way.
Hi Lindsay, Ben from TNT Sports Warner Brothers Discovery. This has the makings of one of the most extraordinary chapters ever. Where would it rank in your career if you do manage to make it to the start gate and maybe the finish line as well with a medal?
Well, I will make it to the starting gate, but it's already been one of the best chapters of my life so far. I think this would be the best comeback I've done so far. Definitely the most dramatic, that's for sure. But I think if you look at everything I've been through in my life, in my skiing career, in my life in general, I've been through a lot, and this is another amazing chapter. I don't know if it's the best chapter, but it's a pretty damn good comeback if I can pull it off.
Hi, Lindsay. Andrew Banff, Associated Press. Good to see you again. I saw that you visited your old coach. I don't know if it was yesterday or you posted that yesterday. Just maybe talk about the emotions of that. And then I just wanted to also ask, do you think maybe eventually you might want titanium in your left knee as well?
Yeah, I definitely will. But I think that's still a few years away. First I have to fix my ACL, and then I can do the partial knee replacement on my left knee. But yeah, I went to see Eric on my way here. He is just outside of Innsbruck, and yeah, I did cry for myself, but that's the only time I've cried, and I miss him, and I know exactly what he would say to me right now, and it definitely gives me additional hope, and knowing that I know that he would support me, my mom would support me, my grandparents would support me. Unfortunately, I have a lot of people upstairs that are looking out for me, and I need all the help that I can get right now, so I think he's with me, and so is my family.
Hi, I'm Jennifer with the Associated Press. Just a non-ACL question, but I'm a climate reporter. You've spoken out about climate change, the future of winter sports. I'm just wondering if you could say anything about what you're thinking about that, or what message you would want to give to people who, are thinking about climate action and those topics as these games are unfolding.
Yeah, I mean, I think Progressive Olympics has been very active in trying to combat climate change and how big of a footprint we have through the games. But as a ski racer, I've seen that firsthand what global warming has done. I've been skiing on glaciers since I was 9 years old, and most of the glaciers that I used to ski on are pretty much gone. So that's very real, and it's very apparent to us. And but I think, like I said, the Olympics has done a really good job to try to combat that, and I encourage everyone to do whatever they can in their own small way.
Lindsay here. John Henderson, Colorado Public Radio. How has your perspective on fear changed since you were younger and before your first crash?
I've never been afraid. I don't know. I've always been the adventurer. I've always been the kid that climbs the tree, and I always do what, like, my grandpa always called me a daredevil. It's always who I've been. I've never been afraid of much in my life, and that's why I'm a downhiller. I like risk. I like going fast. I like pushing myself to the limit. I love being on the mountain. It's an amazing feeling, and one that I know I will never have again because I've been retired, and I know that I'm lucky that I even get this chance one more time. And every time I stand in the starting gate, I realize that I'm lucky to be able to do something I love so much, and I don't take that for granted. So fear has not really been an equation for me in my life.
Well, you said you'd know exactly what Eric would say to you. What would he say to you?
He would say, it's only 90 seconds. What's 90 seconds in a lifetime? It's nothing. You can do it. That's what he said to me before my last run in Ori, and I know that's what he would say to me again today.
Sound advice. And secondly, can you explain to those of us who don't understand what it's like to ski without an ACL, what the difference in your skiing will be pre and post this injury, and how that impacts you?
Well, I've only done it once, and that was on my right knee before the 2014 Olympics. I didn't know that it was fully torn at the time, and I raced on it several times. The biggest issue that I'm concerned about and that I'm looking for is instability in the joint. Your ACL is really what keeps your knee in place. Without that, there can be shifting. Your bones kind of shift over each other. It's not a great feeling. So far, I haven't had that feeling. And that's why I'm wearing a brace, just to keep it as stable as possible, prevent any further damage. Not that it really matters, because my meniscus is not great anyways. But yeah, that's kind of my biggest concern. But as long as I can keep it stable, as long as I have the brace on, as long as I have no swelling and my muscles are activating appropriately, I should be okay. But I can't guarantee what it's going to feel like once, I get into some of the big turns, and that's what we'll have to see after the first training run.
Lindsay, Jutta Doftaker, NRK, Norwegian Broadcasting Company. We just had news that another great skier, Alexander Aamodt Kilde, is not making it after his comeback, and he's quitting now.
Really?
Yes.
He's retiring?
He's retiring. For disease.
Oh,
for disease.
geez,
Yeah.
scared me there.
Sorry.
Okay.
For
There we go.
He's not making the Olympics.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts to him?
I mean, his injuries were extensive, and I was really impressed with the way he came back this year. And sometimes these injuries take longer than others to come back from, and I really have a lot of respect for him for pushing himself and working as hard as he has and trying to come back for these games. But he's still young. I know that he's one of the strongest and hardest working athletes on tour. So if he's coming back next year, then he knows he can do something, and I'm excited to see what he can do.
Lindsay, one follow-up for you. I know you. I'm sorry, Savannah from NBC. I know you touched on taking it day by day, especially in training. Just to clarify, at this point, what is your plan for Team Combined and Super G?
Like I said, I don't know exactly. I have to see how I feel. My intention is to race everything. That's obviously my goal. I mean, I'll finish the season if I can, but I don't know. I can't tell you that until I have the downhill training run and I see how I feel. And Normally in situations like this, your knee is good until it's not. I don't know when there'll be a point where it's not okay anymore. I have to, really be diligent with everything that we're doing and be very strategic and systematic and calculated. So I can't take any unnecessary risk, and we'll just see how it holds up. I'll go as long and as far as I can take it.
Kirsty Stanway here from Sky Sport New Zealand. Pleasure to meet you. We love you in New Zealand.
I love New Zealand.
You're basically a local at Round Hill in Tekapo, so we can't wait to have you back. It's not often we have alpine skiers, but at the moment our country is someone to get behind, and we're so proud of her. What do you make of Alice Robinson?
Alice is awesome. I actually supported her through my foundation in one of her first years on the World Cup. It was actually when she won her first World Cup when she was 17. Yeah, 2019. I actually skied with her when no one knew about my comeback yet, down in Round Hill, and we skied some Super Gs together. I gave her some tips, and I guess it is working out pretty well for her, considering she's beating me in the Super G standings and won a Super G this year. So, but she's an amazing young woman, always happy, always kind, and someone that I'm really proud to know and support.
Lindsay, I'm just wondering if you can discuss a little bit more about the discussions you had with your doctors, and were they pushing you to have surgery right away, or is there any pushback? What were the discussions? I mean, usually with a torn ACL, you go into the operating room.
Surgery hasn't been discussed. It's not really on my radar screen right now. The Olympics are the only thing that I'm thinking about, and every day my knee's gotten better. And every day we're discussing with the full medical team, doctors, physios, everyone, to make sure we're doing everything to make sure I'm making smart and safe decisions. Of course, if my knee's not stable, I can't compete. But at the moment, it is stable and it is strong. So it's going to be an ongoing evaluation. There's, like I said, so far so good, but we have to take it day by day. But if it remains the way it is now, I think I'm pretty solid.
Lindsay, du kennst Cortina in- und auswendig. Inwiefern hilft dir das auch?
Ja, das hilft sehr viel. Ich habe 12 Mal gewonnen hier. Es war immer eine schöne Ort für mich. Diese Strecke gefällt mir ganz gut. Also ich kenne die Strecke ganz gut. Ich muss fast gar nicht Besichtigung machen. Und es gibt mir sicher sehr viel Selbstvertrauen. Und da ist irgendwie eine Strecke, wo ich kenne, das ist Cortina. Und deswegen bin ich hier. Und deswegen mit dieser Verletzung habe ich trotzdem Selbstvertrauen. Good?
Yeah. Are you open to any weather conditions, softer snow, something that could be easier on your knee?
No, I prefer conditions that help me ski fast. I'm not looking at conditions that are better for my knee. When I stand the starting gate, I'm not going to be thinking about my knee. I'm going to be thinking about skiing fast. And I would love to have the normal Cortina, compact, amazing snow that is always here. I think we're going to have a challenge with all the snow coming, but they know how to prepare the course, and if it's anything like it always is, I'll be happy. No, it hasn't been swollen. I don't need Topfen. Oh, did I say that? Okay. Well, I guess we have 10 more minutes, so if anyone wants to keep asking questions.
I do. One more. Just a follow-up, real quick. I was actually chatting to Canadian skier Erin Milzinski, and she was wondering actually just how you view your role for the U.S. team, especially coming in. Obviously, you have a lot of experience as a vet, but then also seeing the rest of the team have success as well. What that means to you?
I mean, it's been incredible to watch all of these young women and race alongside them. Some of them I've known from before. You know, Jackie Wiles is one of them. I also supported her through my foundation. We were on the podium several times together, including this year, which was incredible. I raced with Breezy before as well, but the others I've kind of been mentoring. Some of them I've been mentoring since I've been retired. And Allison Nolan, who's not racing here at the Olympics, but is on the World Cup Tour. I met her at my book signing when she was like 9 years old. So it's a pretty incredible experience to be racing with these women and to try to mentor them and pass along whatever advice or knowledge that I have. You know, downhill skiing is a lot about knowledge and accumulated knowledge. So I feel like I have a lot of that to pass down. It gives me pride to be able to do that. And I wouldn't say I don't feel like I'm in a leadership role. I feel like I'm in a mentorship role. I stand behind them and I try to push them forward. And I think we collectively as a team have done incredible. We're all really running on all cylinders right now. Breezy just got a 3rd place in the last Super G, and most of the racers just got a personal best in the last 2 weeks. So I think everyone as a team is working incredibly well, and they're skiing incredibly fast, and everyone's worked really hard. So yeah, it's a privilege to be on the team with them. And as soon as they get here, I'll be excited to share that with you.
Yeah, maybe we have some question from Media Zone, from remote. So.
Hi, Lindsay. We have a question from Brian Pinelli from NBC Olympics.
Hey, Brian.
You were in a similar situation at the Gap Worlds 2011, had a concussion, persevered, and won silver. Is there something you can take from that?
I mean, honestly, that was probably low on the totem pole of severity of injuries that I came back from. I'd say probably, the 2019 World Championships were the best example or closest thing to this injury that I've ever experienced. But in a lot of ways, I think 2019 was far worse than what I'm dealing with right now. So yeah, obviously I have experience dealing with it. I know how to manage myself. I know how to manage my energy and the swelling and physically what it takes to be able to push through and to persevere through these circumstances. But I don't know, concussion was just a concussion. It was fine.
And we have another one. Have you received any feedback from other skiers after your injury? And if so, what was it?
This injury? Oh, no one knows. I haven't told anyone. I like to keep my stuff, to myself. And I will say I really appreciate that everyone had patience and letting me kind of take my time to process what's happened. But today is the first day that I've really shared the news with anyone outside of my family and friends.
Do we have any more questions? Lindsay, along the line of, sorry, in the back, way in the back. I'm from Salt Lake City, KSL. Along the lines of your talk about mentorship, Mary Bocock is in Salt Lake City. She grew up, born and raised there. Do you have any opinions on her racing?
Oh, Mary's awesome. She actually let me borrow her poles this morning. No, she's full of energy, and she has this amazing personality. She's always witty and quirky and funny, and she has a great attitude. And her results this season in Super G have been amazing. And her sister obviously is skiing so well in the technical discipline. So another very talented family from the Utah, Salt Lake area. Unfortunately the Masugas aren't here, but Lauren and obviously her sisters are all incredible athletes as well, and her brother. So there's a lot of talent coming out of Utah, and of course I'm a resident of Park City, and been living there on and off since 2002. So it's a great place to be. Obviously with the Olympic facilities, and now that we have the Olympics in 2034, I think we're going to have a lot more athletes coming through there, and hopefully developing well because of the infrastructure and facilities that we're able to provide them.
What advice would you have for somebody skiing for the first time like Mary in the Olympics?
Hang on to your chewing gum. My mom would always say that. No, I think enjoy the experience. Keep your eyes wide open. Try to soak it all in. This is an incredible experience, and there's a lot of pressure, but it's still just a ski race. So have fun.
Andrew.
This is your 5th Olympics. I'm just wondering what you think about this new style Olympics. Spread out. Men skiing's in Bormio, the ice sports are in Milan. There's events all the way over in Livigno, 5 hours away. Maybe you just got here today. I'm wondering what it feels like, and what do you think about this new idea?
I mean, I'm in Cortina, so there's really nothing to complain about. I'm very happy being here. It's one of the most beautiful places in the world, but it is sad to not be, closer to more of your teammates, not just in ski racing, but in any sport. I think from an athlete perspective, Salt Lake City was my favorite Olympics because we were all so close to each other. Almost everyone was in the Olympic Village in Salt Lake, and this is quite different. It's like I would love to go to Milan to the opening ceremonies, but it's 5 hours away. And I know a lot of the girls were talking about wanting to watch hockey, but it's difficult. So I think they were doing an amazing job and trying to keep everything organized and running smoothly, but location of venues, you obviously can't choose that. It's geography and where the mountains are, but I think it would have been more fun if we were all closer. Yeah.
We have one more question. Time for one more question. Anyone? Yeah, go for it.
At the last race where you were injured, it seems like there were some weird comments at the start after your crash, and it looked like you commented on some of that. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about that reaction to your situation?
Like right now? Or in 2019?
No, at Crown Montana.
Oh. Yeah. I have to say I was disappointed. I thought it was poor sportsmanship from a lot of people that I care about. Any time that athletes are injured or crash, it's not good. And when FIS or the organizers say that it's not safe to race, we as racers have to trust that. And yes, I know there are high emotions, and everyone has worked very hard to be in a position to compete in that moment. And it's sometimes hard to contain those emotions, but I was deeply hurt by what was said. And some people apologized to me, and I appreciated that, and I accepted their apology. But I think in general, it was disappointing to hear what was said, especially on live television.
I'm gonna call the girls in now. Sierra will join us as well. And I have, so in order to prioritize Lindsay's recovery, she will not be conducting any interviews in the finish after the training runs, but she will be talking to you after the race. So.
Or you okay, let's sit here.
I'm going to jump in here now. Hi, my name is Sierra Ryder. I'm the Alpine Press Officer with the U.S. Ski Team. I work with these ladies on a daily basis, and we're a very strong group. And it was great to hear Lindsay speak earlier, but I think it's great to also broaden the theme to the whole team, because it's a very, very strong women's alpine ski team this season. So first, I just kind of want to kick it off. Well, actually, first, I'm going to have the girls that just joined us introduce themselves with their hometown and past Olympics that you've competed in. So we'll start with Jackie.
Hey everyone, my name is Jacqueline Miles. I'm from Portland, Oregon, 33 years old. This is my 4th team that I've made, 3rd that I'll be competing in. Started in 2014 Sochi, made the 2018 team but didn't compete, and then 2022 in Beijing. And now here, woo!
Hi everyone, my name is Isabella Wright. I am 28 years old and I'm from Salt Lake City, Utah. This is my 2nd Olympics that I'm competing in. 2022 in Beijing was my first.
Hi everyone, I'm Mary Bocock. I'm 22 years old and I'm from Salt Lake City, Utah, and this will be my first Olympics.
I'm Breezy Johnson. I'm from Jackson Hole, Wyoming. This will be my 3rd qualified games and my 2nd competing, starting in Pyeongchang, and yeah, I'm 30.
Hi everyone, my name is Keely Cashman. I'm from Strawberry, California, and this is my 2nd games. My first was also 2022 in Beijing.
Okay, great. So first I'm going to have one question for some of our veterans on the team. So maybe Jackie and Lindsay can kick us off here. But this Games features probably one of the strongest women's speed teams and women's teams in general for Alpine that we've seen in a long time. So can you just speak to what it's like to be on a team this deep and competitive and how it feels heading into the competition these next weeks?
I think it's really cool to be part of a strong team. I feel like when we're all having a good time, we all actually enjoy being around one another, which is great. And it's really cool that everyone's skiing fast together. It's really inspiring, and it makes us all want to keep pushing each other. And when somebody does well, I think we're all like, oh, I can do that too. And it's cool that I feel like we help elevate each other, and having Lindsay back crushing it, setting that tone, I feel like all of us, it really helps elevate and inspire us as well. So it's cool to be a part of a team like this.
Yeah, I mean, being a part of a few teams, I'd say this is definitely one of the strongest I've ever been a part of, and it's been really amazing to see, the progress that everyone's made throughout the summer. Like, we're just working together and building off of each other, and in the races as well. We all know where we stand and how hard we can push each other, and I think when one of us does well, it elevates the whole team, and we're all doing well. So it's incredible for me to see, and for me to be a part of this amazing success as a team.
And for some of our younger gals down there, one thing about this team that's pretty extraordinary, I think, is just how supportive that they are of each other, especially in such an individualized sport. We see them do lots of fun TikToks and social media, things like that. So maybe Mary Keely, can you kind of speak to how you keep that team morale high and even get some of the veterans to get in on some of your TikToks?
Yeah, we spend way too much time on TikTok, I think, but it's been really great having Mary. It's kind of a new addition to our team. She brings a lot of energy and just really good vibes, and yeah, we've been trying to put out some TikToks already.
All right, guys, so we will have more coverage for you from the Olympics. We have opening ceremony starting on Friday. You can watch that Friday evening right here on WCNC Charlotte. Of course, things will be changing around here, but we'll have more coverage on WCNC Plus during the Olympics as well. We appreciate your time tonight. We'll see you tonight for the 11 o'clock news on WCNC Charlotte.